Oh, did you show Thomas where Teresa didn't know what a fluffer was?
Oh,
That episode. I loved that. We were ahead of the curve.
Yeah, we were.
We're trendsetters, is what we are. They just don't know it. But they will. Hi, this is Caitlin.
And this is Sharon.
And welcome to Real Housewives on Real Housewives, where we unravel housewives' story threads and keep the tea flowing.
So chic.
Hold on to your family.
This week, we're digging into Teresa Giudice from Real Housewives of New Jersey, Season 13.
Our verses this week is Teresa versus her brother Joe and Teresa versus her wedding hair Marie Antoinette extravaganza.
Yes. Let's do some quick background info.
Yeah.
Teresa's 51, so she looks amazing.
She does.
51.
I agree.
She's got 4 daughters. She used to be married to Juicy Joe, but then she had a baby, went to jail, got divorced.
All on the show.
All on the show. And she is now married to Louis. Please see our Louis episode.
Yes.
We think it's pretty good.
We're pretty proud of it.
Yeah.
And honestly, rarely do we give, or have we maybe never given, a guy his own whole episode. Like, that's how dramatic Louis is.
And it was the first one of our New Jersey season.
Kickoff.
Teresa, speaking of, Teresa has been a housewife since season 1, 2009. And we all know her because of the table flip.
Yep. Which we kind of think has gone to her head. Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's where a lot of her
hair comes from.
Yeah. From the way. when the ego gets bigger, the hair gets larger. All right, let's dig right into Teresa versus her brother Joe. This is a hard one because, again, we hate when family fights. Mm-hmm. It's one thing when friends fight. I think it just feels so much more awkward and uncomfortable and sad when family's the one fighting. So to give a little background on the Teresa versus Joe, argument here, I guess, is looking at where it all started. We went back and forth. Like, what did Louis do this season? What did Joe do this season? Because clearly the drama lies between Louis and Joe, and Teresa supporting Louis over Teresa supporting Joe. But it all started because Teresa will not let it go that in season 3, Melissa joined the show, and she is Teresa's sister-in-law. She's married to Joe. She joined the show without, I guess, clearing it with Teresa, without telling Teresa. Looks like she signed the paperwork, was good to go, and Teresa had no knowledge. Now, Melissa argues that that's not true. Again, I don't know. But all they've done is fight about this for, since season 3? I mean, it was on the Ultimate Girls Trip. It's like every reunion she brings it up.
And she makes it sound like Melissa is a guest on her show.
Yes.
Which really, when we looked, Melissa came on season 3.
Yeah.
Like the way Teresa says it, like going back, I thought it was going to be like season 7 or something. But it's like, no, she is just as the beginning. It's 13 seasons now. So she is just as long running as you pretty much at this point.
And you know what I say about season 1? Like, that's the dress rehearsal season. Yeah. I'm not even sure it really counts. They're just trying out the city to see if it vibes.
Exactly.
So come on. Like, I think she has to admit that Melissa's part of the cast now. Yeah. There's literally nothing she could do to change that. And let's stop arguing about where it started from. How's that going to fix anything? It's not. Also, we have an issue because Joe Gorga didn't really like Juicy Joe, Teresa's ex-husband. So I feel like that Teresa carries that into her relationship with Louis. Joe has never liked any of my boyfriends or any of my husbands, and therefore obviously, he's going to hate Louis too. And I think she carries that into all this drama as well.
She probably does.
Yeah.
She's defensive, I think.
Very defensive. That's a good word for her. Let's start out with the first part of the wedding. So all this drama between Teresa and Joe has to do with Teresa's wedding. All the little elements of what they fight about all come back to Teresa's wedding. Joe is not being supportive enough of Teresa and Louis. So we start out with the bridesmaids.
And this one hurt me to watch.
Yeah. This one's painful.
It was so painful to watch. So Teresa asks Louis' sisters to be her bridesmaids and some newer friends, people she hasn't known as long as Melissa. And she does not ask Melissa to be a bridesmaid.
Yeah. And this really hurts Joe's feelings even more than it hurts Melissa's feelings.
Exactly. Because Joe is like, why wouldn't you want my wife? Like, we're not family, especially when you have Louis sisters.
Yes.
So that means you're not just picking your friends.
Right.
You're going and doing, I'm going to do the family thing.
Right.
What's one more person?
Otherwise, I feel like what they could have done is done kids. Teresa's girls, Louis' boys,
yeah.
and not do grown-ups and stop this whole thing. Okay, here's a question that I had too when I was thinking about this. Why on earth is there no discussion about whether Louis invited Joe to be a groomsman?
See, I think it's because it's different with guys.
Maybe.
Okay, because I had both of my sister-in-laws were my bridesmaids. But Thomas never asked my brother Jeff, and I don't think Jeff cared.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, that's interesting.
I think it's different for
Maybe
guys.
it is the politics of the women's side.
Don't you? I don't know why. Something seems different.
Yeah, I don't know. That is
you know what?
interesting.
Also, but I do think maybe my brother walked down separately or a different.
I just feel like give Melissa a role.
Exactly. Yeah.
So in our wedding, my sister-in-law was on my side and my brother was on David's side. But David's other brother, who was also a groomsman, his current wife was a fiance then. So we didn't have her as a bridesmaid. But we made sure that she carried the cross down the aisle. She had a role and she had an importance. Because I think I guess you're not obligated. You know, you can ask whoever you want. But at the same time, what a wedding is a coming together of two families. And if you care about family, as Teresa says she does so much, which is, I guess, my biggest thing with her, you can't keep saying how much you care about family and then treat your family the way she treats them, I think. And I think what she did with this was to say, Melissa's not important. She's not part of the joining of a family. And I don't understand that because she's been around so long. Like her or not, she's been in your life for a really long time.
Yeah, it's when are you going to accept it?
Exactly. Just deal with it.
I do think Teresa's obligated to ask Melissa to be in the wedding.
I agree.
I think it's kind of like when a kid invites someone from class to a party or something. It's like you either invite everyone or just a couple.
Yes.
And not to mention because family is such a cornerstone of their whole being. It's we are a family.
I mean, that's what's on the back of her wedding dress. Yeah.
And you know what? Also, she should anyway, but it's also her second wedding. I kind of
calm down a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. This does not have to be I don't know.
I agree. Because it doesn't sound like she had a teeny tiny piddly first wedding. So maybe you don't need to make this one the moon landing of what.
Exactly. This one should really just be okay, we're getting married. And
that's why I think maybe you stand up there with your kids if you want your kids to be included. But at this point, maybe friends matter even less than family. Because at this point, you've had such family drama.
Yeah.
That this is your chance to fix the drama. This is your chance to say, you guys matter to me. Which is why I do blame Teresa for all of the season and all the fallout. I don't care that Joe maybe wasn't nice to Louis all the time. I think it's Louis' job, or not Louis. I think it's Joe's job as her brother when she married a guy who got her sent to prison the first time.
Yeah.
To say, I'm going to question this guy a little bit. Will you just want him to rubber stamp? Say he rubber stamped this guy and this guy turned out to be a crazy nut, which I mean, the jury's still out on that. But wouldn't then she'd be like, Joe, you should have cared enough about me to question this guy. So I think bravo to Joe for checking in on the guy. And then I think bad on Teresa for starting this whole drama by refusing to make Melissa part of it. And the second she got wind that her brother was upset, she should have gone to Melissa and said, off camera, I want to invite you now. I know this feels like sloppy seconds, but I think I made a mistake. Own what you did.
Yeah.
And I want to fix our family. Be my bridesmaid, please.
Yeah.
Then if Melissa says no, then Melissa's the bad guy. Yeah. But again, she never even gives Melissa a chance to be the bad guy because she's such a bad guy.
I know. And it's just so mean.
It's so mean. Ugh. I mean, there's politics with bridesmaids. Of course there is.
But it doesn't have to be.
But there doesn't have to be.
All she had to do was invite one more person.
Exactly.
That's
and then I think this, I totally stepped on your words, but I got all excited. But the slap in the face is, okay, so Dina, we lose Dina because of Pizzagate or whatever reason. But Dina was, previously on the show.
Yeah.
She was Teresa's bridesmaid. She drops out of the wedding. So then what does Teresa do? Now's the time to go to Melissa and say, this isn't sloppy seconds. I lost Dina. You're the next most important person.
Which is still kind of sad. But
it's still kind of sad. But I still think it was worth a shot.
Yeah.
Instead, she invites two other castmates.
Oh, Dolores and Jennifer.
Jennifer, come on. And then he invites Bill.
And do you think she invited, because she didn't have to replace Dina.
No.
I don't know how many guys he had. But still,
I don't think the numbers matched up there.
I don't think the numbers really matter.
And again, nobody's going, there's too many bridesmaids, not enough groomsmen.
So she didn't have to replace not with one,
Uh-huh.
but with two people,
and then
neither of which is Melissa.
Right. And then conveniently, she was missing when they announced that information to Melissa too. Give her a call before.
Jennifer and Dolores said that to Melissa, they should not have brought it up like that.
It was a slap in the face.
It was a slap in the face.
Rude.
I would have felt really embarrassed to say it. Like, I don't know.
And I think that's the other thing that Teresa forgets. There's so many little tiny paper cut slices of Melissa this entire season that no wonder she gets pissed and loses it. She's trying to hold it together. And especially when you learn later, as we'll talk about a little bit, but like what she knew behind the scenes that hadn't been discussed. Like she's trying really hard not to blow everything out of the water. Yeah. And Teresa just keeps slicing at her and going, chosen family, chosen family.
Hey, random Jennifer Aiden.
I know.
I know.
Oh, and Melissa about your husband too.
Bill is now a groomsman?
Because Louis feels like they could really make a connection down the road.
Like, come on.
No one's going to make a connection with Bill Aiden.
Which is funny. Okay, the first season, I didn't like him because he always just sat there and made the same face. I really didn't
the first.
He always sits in the same spot on the bed at the same angle, making the same face. But for some reason, I like him now.
I don't know. I haven't come around. He's better this season. He's warmed up. Like I think maybe he's not a real warm, outgoing camera person. So I think the first season was really hard for him. I still think he may come around for me.
He has nothing in common with Louis. He should not be Louis' groomsman. He probably doesn't even want to be Louis' groomsman.
Jennifer made him.
He just wants to sit in the pool house. He's like, damn it.
Maybe he thought he could sit in the pool house right up until the wedding versus having to sit in the audience and hold the seat.
Yeah.
He didn't want to hold her purse, so he agreed to be a groomsman. Let's talk a little bit about, do you think that it was sincere at the point at which Teresa asked Melissa to be her bridesmaid because there was a party and they were kind of talking about it and there was a brief second where Teresa's like, well, okay, you could be my bridesmaid now.
Okay. So I'm such a sucker because for a second I thought she was being sincere.
Same.
And I thought Melissa should say yes.
Same.
But then when Melissa was like, this is ridiculous, I was like, you know what? She's right. This is just Teresa. Teresa's not genuine.
No.
This is just her being...
She's doing it on camera.
Exactly.
For one.
And the way... Yeah, in front of everybody. She's trying to make Melissa look bad.
She is.
Oh, see, I asked her and she said no.
Yeah. So what am I going to do?
Yeah.
Yeah. She spends way too much time asking people things that have like trick answers. Like, because I'm proud of Melissa. I would have accepted it and just felt like an idiot probably.
And felt embarrassed the whole time. Like, oh, she doesn't actually want me here.
Because at first I thought, oh, come on, Melissa, just say yes.
Yeah.
But then as I thought about it, like you said, I was like, no, she made the right call. Okay. And also, I still don't understand why Louis wasn't asked to be didn't ask Joe to be a groomsman. I know we talked about it, but I still go back to that. I think that would have fixed it too. If Melissa felt like it was sloppy seconds, I think it was up to Louis to stand up and invite Joe. I think that might have fixed the whole thing. I don't know. Let's talk about invitations. So the other thing is that Teresa refuses to invite anyone from Melissa's family, which again, it's another little paper cut. Like it doesn't seem like a big deal, but when you add all these things up, it becomes a big deal. So Melissa's mom and her sisters are not invited to the wedding. What's weird is they make a point of saying that when Melissa and Joe got married, they invited Juicy Joe's parents to the wedding. So again, I do think you are obligated to follow the rules that were set before.
I agree.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think, at my wedding, my sister-in-law's parents...
There's a lot of times when that happens. I think, again, it's a peacemaking thing, and they're just as much a friend as somebody's random work friend that your dad makes you invite from work.
And then random work friend who then brings random girlfriend. So, totally. Yeah. And the invitation thing, you know what? Louis is supposedly trying to make peace and going and fix stuff, like especially with the invitation thing later with the Melissa's mom. He actually goes in and doesn't he actually go and invite Melissa's mom?
So he wants to find her and invite her. Teresa finally says that he can. And he goes after her, but she's left. But here's what I don't like. They never followed up. Did she get an invitation or not? Like, did she get one and then she didn't go because Joe and Melissa decided not to go, which makes sense? Or was it all for show?
It was probably for show.
I'm beginning to think Teresa doesn't do anything that's not for show.
Why would he go through all that, but not just say, Teresa, have Melissa be your bridesmaid?
Right.
Like, why wouldn't he talk her into that?
Because he doesn't like Joe.
That's what I think. Because out of all the things he tries to talk her into, and we're going to invite this and that, it's like you could have just done that one thing, and it probably would have fixed a lot of the others.
And it comes off so conniving because sometimes he's so, Teresa, I have your back. And then other times he's so, Teresa's crazy. We should have invited Melissa's parents.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand what, Louis is such a moving target as to like what he believes and what he doesn't believe. I cannot pin him down on that.
And you know what? With weddings, it seems like there's always someone that you invite that it's like you invite because they're your parents' friends, or you invite for this. Or
there's always some idiot who invites somebody else peripherally and you're like, yeah, fine, you can bring that person. And you're kind of annoyed because you're like, I'm not sure that they're worth the price of a meal.
That's why you take a lot of pictures, some with everyone, so they don't feel it, and then some with the people you only want in the picture.
Exactly. People you really like.
I'm going to go look at what's hanging on my wall.
Exactly. The other thing, too, I think that's really interesting is that Teresa says there's a history with Melissa's mom and her sister, and she talks about Melissa's sister writing about her on social media. And then Teresa does that I'll forgive, but I'll never forget thing that she does. But at the same time, then later she says, well, I just didn't think about them.
Yeah.
So again, which is it, Teresa?
And I don't know which is more insulting.
I don't know. I forgot about that.
Yeah, exactly. I'd rather have you like be mad at me
than not remember me.
Yeah. Like, who are you?
Exactly. Okay, so then we go into the housewarming party. And the issue here is that Joe didn't go to the housewarming party. Do you think that's more insulting than other stuff he doesn't attend? Because there's a bunch of things he decides not to deal with or go to this season and previous seasons.
I feel like housewarming is not a big deal. Because she's an adult and she's had lots of houses.
And Melissa went. A representative of the family went.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Housewarming, I would not be.
Yeah. In fact, I think in a way it's kind of brave to say, I don't want to put more of our family drama on TV, so I'll just step away.
Yeah, and he can come see her house
another time.
I mean, if you guys are family, you guys should be hanging out there at some time anyway.
He's not invited.
He's not.
He just. How much do you want to bet he does not have a key to that house in case they go out of town?
Yeah,
like he's not watering the plants.
No,
he's not feeding the iguana. In my head, they have an iguana.
They do have a cute dog.
They do have a cute dog, but no iguana. Well, maybe Louis.
He does change color. He turns like red, and then he gets
leathery.
Oh no, it's chameleons that change color, not iguanas.
Oh yeah, I love.
Oh god. Okay. Take a biology lesson here.
Lizard.
Okay, you know what I meant. We think they have some kind of lizard
scaly qualities. Okay. So, do you think the next issue is kind of similar? It's the rehearsal dinner. The rehearsal dinners are a bigger deal. Joe and Melissa are mad about the seating at the rehearsal dinner. Now, they did go to the rehearsal dinner. But what happened was they weren't seated. Or was this the engagement party, not the rehearsal dinner? Why are we calling it the rehearsal dinner?
Well, I thought they said rehearsal dinner, but I thought the rehearsal dinner was always the night before the wedding.
Yes. So I don't understand that.
Maybe it wasn't.
So maybe it was an engagement party of some kind. I don't know. But either way, they went to this important family event and the seating was weird. Now, this really, I think, would be a huge slap. For some reason, I guess seating pisses me off. Like, this is where I draw the line. Because what happened was that Teresa and Joe, this is why people put the couple at their own table sometimes, I think, and do like a couple's table. Because Teresa and Louis were at their own table with all of Louis's family. And then Joe and Melissa and the nieces and nephews were like thrown at a table in the corner. Yeah. Teresa claims she didn't know. It had something to do with the the event planner.
Yeah.
But you can fix that in the moment.
Yeah.
Or you can go over and apologize. Or you can swap some people. Or or you check where your brother is seated. I would have checked where my brother is seated.
Maybe you come and you pull up a chair and you sit there just for a little bit.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Again, it feels like a slight because there's so many other little slights that she's done. And then was she like punishing them for something? Because it kind of feels like that. Yeah. Like I can see what was going through their head. She's
just trying to show them that you're not important to me.
Exactly.
But we don't know why they're not important to her.
Right.
When she says family is important to her. And I do believe her that she cares about family.
Yeah.
So why
is her brother not important to her?
Or why? I guess he is important. She just wants to hurt him. I don't know.
The other thing I don't get is we're both sisters of brothers and our birth order is a little bit different. But at the same time, we both come from a family where it's just brother and sister, which is what they have. Don't you feel like some kind of protection over that other sibling because you have just one?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I don't understand because we're close to, we actually like our brothers.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi, Grady. But like, they're fun and they're funny. And like, I would never want them mad at me. And if something happened, I would hope they would come to me and tell me and we'd fix it. Teresa refuses to fix anything.
Mm-hmm. Do you think she's doing it for a storyline?
Oh, maybe.
I didn't think about that until right in this moment. But no, I think she's just that mean.
Mm-hmm. What I don't understand is how that time spent in prison, she lost all that time from like her mother and father before they were gone. So she claims that that was one of the reasons that she could never forgive Juicy Joe. Mm-hmm. What I don't understand is what you're doing right now is like history repeating itself. So say something goes wrong or
that's a
with
really
your
good
brother,
point.
Why didn't you just forget, and not waste that time?
That's a really good point.
I don't get it.
Yeah, like she would have learned what's important
Exactly.
at that point.
Like, I don't see why that didn't change things. Okay, so who wins? I mean, obviously nobody.
I want you to answer first.
Okay, I guess Teresa wins because she got what she wanted.
Mm-hmm.
But Joe wins the moral fight.
Agree.
I mean, like, Teresa...
I think in the end, Louis wins.
Oh.
Because I think he's the one that likes all this. Likes
this drama.
Teresa and Joe not to be together.
Right. And you know, there is something when a relationship is based on tension and an us versus them mentality, which maybe we have here.
Yeah.
That, Louis wins.
And he's saving her from that snake pit.
Mm-hmm. That's right. God, here comes
he's
the
playing
lizards
the long
again.
game.
Yes. Now, I don't understand what his goal is.
I don't
though, but I
either.
guess that's the thing about
I think that's the thing. I think it's because we're normal.
Yeah.
And he's not. Yeah. So, like, we can't relate.
And if someone was even a little bit mad at me, it would stress me out. I mean, Teresa's so much about keeping score. I think you said that to me when we were watching. It's like tit for tat, tit for tat. Every time something happens, she has to do it right back, which terrifies me because, like, my kids are kind of like, he did this to me, I'm going to do this to him. And I'm trying so hard to, like, teach that doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like, what if you don't teach that and your kids grow up into adults with, like, this revenge thing?
Then they go on the Real Housewives.
Yeah, I mean, if they make the money.
Then it's okay.
Otherwise,
if they can make money off these horrible personality traits,
exactly.
That's good.
Then what do you do?
See, that's why I'm raising my kids to be crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, let's do now Teresa versus her wedding hair, which all I can think is Marie Antoinette, giant hair with like the boat in it.
Okay, but I have to say this. When
they should have just powdered it.
You're right. I didn't think about it. So I was printing. I like to have a sheet with the name in each person's picture just for my brain. And I saw a picture of Teresa with her wedding hair. And it was online. My daughter, one of my 4-year-olds, comes up and she saw the picture of Teresa and she said, "Is she a princess?"
Oh.
And it was so sweet. And I feel like that's exactly what Teresa wanted.
Okay, that's true.
But I think it's funny that the only people that liked what she wanted were like 4-year-old girls.
The 4-year-old demographic.
Yeah, like the 4-year-old. Yeah, that's who likes that.
Yeah, okay, it's Disney hair.
It is.
Like, yeah. So I guess if what you're going for is Disney hair, then I guess it works.
I love that they all kind of made fun of it.
Yeah. Okay, here's some facts from the Glamour magazine article that I read about her hair, which got its own article. There was no trial run on the hair. It took 3.5 hours to do. I'd get so bored. 45 minutes to take out.
That's a fun wedding night.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay.
Just a second, I gotta take my hair out. I didn't have trouble getting like all the petticoats and stuff off from the dress, not to mention the hair.
Can you imagine her trying to like keep it on? Like, I'll just take it off tomorrow. Like, it would probably hurt her neck.
She'd get up in the morning and be like, I can't move my head. Yeah, they said the hair weighed about 6 to 7 pounds. That's the guess. I mean,
that's a lot to carry on your head.
That's a lot. 1,500 bobby pins.
So how do you even pull those all out?
Do you just takes 45 minutes?
Do you take the whole? Maybe you just take it all out and just throw it away.
Right.
The whole piece. You really pull each.
Right, because there's an extension, so maybe you're not pulling out each individual.
But then why does it need the pin? I don't know.
But I think you're right. Like maybe there's a point at which you can lift part of it off.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, they still built it up, right?
Yeah, they built it, but
to take it down. And I guess if you don't want to rip your original hair.
I guess if you're going to keep it as like a headpiece.
Oh my God, like in a museum.
Yes, like yes, exactly. It's going to go on like a little head.
The lady was saying that the hair itself and the bridal styling fee and the extensions would have been around like $2,500. But with the headpiece, that's what made it around like $10,000. So it was also that little princess tiara. Feels like the weirdest thing I've had to explain in a long time. So
I think the hair won.
Yeah, well, the hair obviously won. It took over everything.
The whole wedding.
The thing is, I didn't feel like, okay, there wasn't a single person, minus your daughter, who looked at it and immediately was like, oh, it's like it overshadowed the dress. It overshadowed the whole day.
Like, we're talking about the wedding, and I don't even have anything to say about the wedding. And
I think it's great for you to have something that's like so iconic. That it becomes part of like history in a way. But at the same time, it's overshadowing your love bubble. Yeah. And that's not good.
Her hair can't even fit in the love bubble.
No. It's like what the bubbles here, like a little talk bubble, and the hair like goes through it and all the way up. It's a feat of engineering is what it is.
I don't even really have any thoughts on her wedding, do you? Other than the hair?
No, and that's what surprises me because we said, okay, we'll talk about the wedding. Maybe we'll even give it its own episode. Yeah. But it didn't earn its own episode. It was not interesting enough. Yeah. And at the same time, what I found was weird is it was like an extension of the season and not its own event. And I don't even feel like I caught all the details of the event, like what the centerpiece looked like, the stuff that I feel like I'd want to see in a wedding special.
Yeah, exactly. When I watched it, I was like, first of all, I wasn't excited to watch it.
No, because the family drama ruined it. And that's why you make peace before your wedding.
Exactly. And then it was just, you know what? Yeah.
Yeah. At least, no one was pregnant during the wedding. Remember how Teresa was so upset that she was pregnant during Melissa and Joe's wedding. And
that Melissa was pregnant during Teresa and Juicy Joe's wedding. Yeah. Because
no, it was the other way around. Teresa was pregnant during Melissa and Joe's, so she didn't look good in the photos.
Oh my gosh.
How self-centered is that?
They're both ridiculous, but that's even more ridiculous, I think.
That's the thing. It's like everyone's ridiculous, and then she takes it to like a new hair level of ridiculous. Yeah, so the hair wins that. I just wish there was more to say about the wedding.
There's nothing to say.
And I wish there was more that I could give Teresa a tiny win on, and I can't.
It was so anticlimactic, other than the fact that, so, because it's like all this stuff, they don't go to the wedding. That feels really intense.
Yes.
But then the episode is just like, eh. But then the reunion does get a little intense.
Which also I think Teresa and her, at the reunion, she said this was the last time she'd ever see them. She said that Melissa and Joe turned her into the authorities. She doesn't think it's Caroline Manzo anymore. Now she thinks...
Yeah, where did that come from? Senator Joe, it's like...
Come on.
What?
And the other thing I don't understand is I don't think she understands how much she needs them for her storyline.
Yeah. And they tried to tell her that.
Right. And she got pissed about it.
Yeah, about the podcast and all that.
We'll delve into that in Melissa's because I have some things to say about that too. All right. Well, that's our Teresa drama. She does bring a lot of drama, but honestly... She needs her brother to bring it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go back and say that Joe wins.
She needs Louis and her brother. Well, she does need a brother. But to keep it fresh, she had to add Louis.
And she likes to keep her hands relatively clean. Yeah. So she needs someone like the abrasive husband to be the drama. Good. Love bubble.
Love bubble.
All right. Well, remember, housewives bring the drama.
We bring the receipts.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please hit the subscribe button. If you'd like to help support us, please share it with others and leave a rating and review. Also, visit us on Instagram and Twitter, both at RH_on_RH for fun pictures and polls, or email us at rhonrhpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks again, and remember to stay out of the shade.